Hey, welcome to From the Top, a show where I talk to friends and musicians about how they got started and how they got to where they are now. When I started this, I didn't plan on doing ads or anything along those lines, but apparently, when it comes to coffee, I'm for sale. Because I wouldn't leave Rampage Coffee alone, I'm now part of their affiliate program. What this means is you can go to rampagecoffee.com/FACA. That'll automatically get you 10% off your order. You can also use the code FACA10 for 10% off. Thanks again to Rampage. Really great local company, obviously makes the best coffee around, and they do great things for their community as well. Thanks again, Rampage. My guest today is my friend Curtis Korchniski. Curtis sings and plays keys, and I'm lucky enough to play in a couple bands with him. You'll hear by our conversation that it's just a pretty damn consistent good vibe with Curtis. Always a great guy to be around. The downside is that the dog felt exactly the same. Lloyd was licking him through almost the entire conversation. So if you're watching, it might be a little distracting. And if you're listening, I'm sure you'll hear a couple of cuts that don't quite make sense. Either way, we all had a great time. I hope you do too. Here's Curtis Korchniski. Hey, welcome to From the Top. I'm your host, Matthew Faca. With me, being assaulted by my dog, is my friend Curtis Korchniski.
Yes.
Curtis.
I'm not minding this at all.
No, it's not. I don't know why you would.
Most attention I've had in years.
Perfect. Well, thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me. This is a blast.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Cool. Even if nothing else happens but this, I think we'll both be happy.
Man, it's already a victory here.
Yeah.
Right now, it's a total win. Total win.
Cool. For the people at home, what's the 10,000-foot view? Where were you born? Where are you from?
Well, born here in Saskatoon, actually, and raised in the city all my life. Spent a little bit of time living in Vancouver in 2015, 2016. Spent the summer working in Edmonton. That was a cool city too. But Saskatoon's still home,
cool.
kind of, wildly. And it's been good. It's a good place to call home.
Cool.
Decent.
Yep.
And started playing when I was young. Actually, I picked it up by ear.
Did you?
And I was 3 years old.
Piano. Sorry, you're a piano
player.
Sorry.
Yeah, you betcha. My parents actually got me like a little plastic, like an organ thing, and because I would come home, like I would be out with my mom, grocery shopping or whatever, and I hear commercials and jingles on the radio. It's okay. I guess my hands are tasty.
Well, apparently, yeah.
That's good.
That's lotion that I don't have here, maybe. I don't know.
And so I'd come home and I would pretend to play. Apparently, Mom said I would pretend to play the piano on like nothing on the coffee table.
Yeah.
Along
with whatever radio jingles were going on.
Yeah, like cool. With just whatever I would hear it in the car ride on the way home. So they bought me this keyboard, and I started playing stuff, and I would remember it, like I could find the tone, and I would start playing, and I would mimic the songs I'd heard either on the radio or on the commercials and stuff. So
At three,
no yeah. So they put me in lessons just before I turned 4. So my birthday's in January, so I started lessons in September. That would have been 1983. And no, 1982.
I can bleep out the year if you want.
No, that's all right. I mean, I'm old as fuck. It's all good. I just don't feel it. But
perfect.
I mean, I really am. But and then so my actually they put me in organ lessons originally, and my organ teacher, like she was I think 18 at the time. I'm sure I was one of her original students, sure. And she taught out of her home. And
was there like if somebody came to me and said I want to give my 3-year-old guitar lessons, I'd say, are you out of your goddamn mind?
Yeah.
Was there some convincing?
She was like, I'm not going to take a student on that young, and she says, but let him play, and I'll see if what I think. And so I sat down at her massive organ, and whipped off a couple tunes, and she's like, oh, okay, I can work with him. And then she took me on, and she taught me for 16 years.
16, all right, cool.
Yeah, and actually ended up teaching her kids. I became a teacher and taught her kids, and her and I are still friends to this day, and she's pretty wild. And but that only went so far, and then I actually ended up taking piano lessons in grade 9. And then did my Western Board exams and got all that. So I went from like teaching to examining. I played in all these festivals and stuff, and it was funny because I was this little shit, and my parents had this little 3-piece suit, so I'd walk into these festivals look like a freaking little Oompa Loompa, and I'd walk up.
I was thinking ventriloquist doll.
Yeah, well, that's basically what it was, for sure. And I'd walk up and I'd belt off a tune and I'd win, right? And so like all these kids are like, who is this kid? And this little dwarf.
Lloyd.
So,
hey, buddy. Take it easy, dude.
Oh, he's making love here. This is all good. And so we had a lot of fun with that. And then, of course, going to Catholic school, my parents always had the priest over for dinner, right?
Sure.
And he heard me play one night, and I was in there practicing because I had to practice all the time. That's my parents' rule. And so he got me into playing in church. So you can imagine that was my secondary career.
Sure.
And but then it actually turned out pretty cool because in high school, our school was attached to the church, and whenever there was a funeral, they would ask me to play for it. So they would pull me out of class
to
play for funerals, and then I get paid.
Right.
I get paid to play them too.
Cool.
So it was like, it was a double whammy. So I was making good money.
Right. At what age are we at now?
I was in grade 9 at that time. So yeah, I've been
still
14.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then played all the way through. So yeah, it was good. It's music's always been a big part of my life. You know, my mom, she's got 6 sisters and 7 brothers.
Well,
and they're all musical. So I grew up in a very musical family, and like we learned how to sing harmonies when we were like 4 or 5 years old because there was 90 of us.
Yeah,
so
you have to. Yeah,
you just pick a line in there somewhere, and you had to learn how to adjust. If someone was on your line, you'd have to find another one, sort of thing. So I learned that at a really young age too, which was really cool, which worked out to be really beneficial as I got older. Right. So
I'm still working on that.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's wild.
Cool. So when did the band thing start? When did you start playing with other people?
So I actually, one of my mom's sisters is like the most musical out of them, and she played in a band. I was in grade 10. There you go, buddy. And one of my cousins got married, and my aunt's band was playing for the wedding, and I don't know, I ended up going up there and playing, and then I ended up kind of filling in for her band every so often when they'd need somebody, and I would play keys and stuff, and then I met in 2000, oh my God, what was it? 2004, I met Amanda Hagel. I was working at Mawson Health and Fitness, and she was a trainer there, and we just got chatting, just like Lloyd and I are chatting right now.
That's right, yeah.
And she and I got talking, and she was like, "Yeah, hey, I have a CD," and so she gave me her demo, and I'm like, "Holy shit, this girl's like, this isn't like no campfire singer here. Like this girl's amazing." So I said to her, like, we should jam some night. So she came over to my place. I lived in this little house that was like the size of this room, and we just sat down and jammed, and it was instant where you can kind of, because she comes from a big family too, so you know how to like listen to each other. And you know how to harmonize, you know how to like still play, right? And everything. So we actually hit it off right away, and we started that. That's 20 years ago.
Crazy.
Well, it'll be 21 years ago this coming fall. And and it was just a 2-piecer, and then we started hosting auditions to add to the band, and away we went. It was wild. Yeah.
The instantly gelling, like you two have always seemed like siblings. Like that's just like if somebody told me like, yeah, they're siblings, like, yep, makes sense. I get it.
It's funny you say that because that's how she's felt like a best friend, but a sister, but like more than that. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Because I don't know if you get this, and I'm sure some of the listeners would appreciate, the musicians, that when you're playing in a band, whether it's with one person or 3 or 15, there's a I don't want to sound weird, but like it's like a spiritual connection, right? And like so some people have it, some people don't, and you can still get through it even if they don't have that, maybe that same jive. But with Amanda, it was like we were so in tune, just naturally, where it was just super easy, just like Lloyd and I. Yeah. And then I actually got to play with her family. I went to her hometown, and they did an opening. Okay. Oh my God! So no, the school opening of Cabri, when Cabri opened their school, her brother and her sister and herself and myself played together, and it was the same thing where it was just like it was instant connection, understanding where each other were at, and like we didn't have monitors, we didn't have nothing. Right. It was hilarious.
Hey, don't bite.
That's actually just little love nibbles. Right. Those don't hurt. Those are good. But
that's how I end the show. He's closing it early, so that's
it's okay. Amanda and I do this all the time too. And we can't agree on the set list. We just bite each other's hands.
Yeah, perfect. Play your own game of chicken.
Absolutely. So like we've been so fortunate to play for so many years together, and I've had the great pleasure of filling in for other bands as well, and joining a few other groups, and there's that whole cosmic connection is so consistent, when you have that right mix of people, and it's just like, oh man,
it's one of the, well, as you say, it's a thing you can't say with words.
Yeah. You just feel it, right? And it's so cool, and what you create from that, and especially when you have a good room and a good crowd, it's like that's like a wicked adrenaline rush.
Yeah, it's its own drug by quite a bit.
Totally is. Yeah. Totally.
Like it's one of the, like, the set list doesn't really matter. Like if everybody's kicking ass at Brown Eyed Girl, we're all happy. Like,
Worst song ever. But yes, you're right. And we played at every fucking gig. Yep. But you're right. Like whether I've played with a country band or I played with a jazz band or I played with a 50s, 60s band, it's like if you're all feeling it and you're all having a good time, it doesn't matter what it is, right? Absolutely, man, for sure.
Cool. Well, into the gig thing, are there any that stick out as of either, I like the smile already, either, stand out good moments or stand out bad moments?
Oh, yeah. So there's been lots of good, mostly good, really good.
Sure.
When I was playing with Where's My Mullet, a great group of guys and gals, we opened for Kim Mitchell. Yeah. We opened for Ace of Base. We opened for George Thorogood. Cool. And there was another one. The Headpins. That's what it was.
Cool.
So yeah, I fell in love with 80s like hard rock back as a kid, growing up on the farm with my uncles. Like I grew up in the city, but I'd spent all my time on the farm with my uncles. And with my mom having so many brothers, you get in the tractor and there was AM radio, right? Sure. And all the shit that was on the radio was like the White Snake stuff and the Def Leppard and Skid Row and the radio-friendly Guns N' Roses stuff. But then there was like the Canadian content, which was Darby Mills, like from the Headpins, Lee Aaron, Toronto, Harlequin, all those guys that were just like so kick-ass. So then I got into like when I got old enough and I could start going to cabarets and shit, and I got to see these guys live. Yeah. And you watch them perform, it's like, it's just so wicked. So then downtown in Saskatoon, there was a street dance in the old Bay building before they converted it to lofts. And they asked us to open for the Headpins. Cool. And that was like, my lipstick was out for sure at that time. And so then I got to meet Darby Mills backstage, and there's pictures of me. I'm like kneeling down beside her chair like she's the Queen of England. And I was so freaking pumped to meet her and play for her. And it was so wild. So we had a really, really good time. Cool. So that was one of the ones that stuck out. We played for some bullshit gigs. I think you and I were in a few of them together.
Yep, sure.
But I think the worst one of all time, there's a small town towards Kelvington named Hendon, and if anyone's watching and they're from there, I'm sorry, but I'm going to shit talk your town. Some loser booked us, and he was some local wannabe, and I said, okay, well, yeah, we worked through an agent and everything like that, and we gave him our criteria, what we needed to play on, and it was a stage, of course, and he arranges a flat deck, but not like anchored or anything. So it's just like this bouncy ass flat deck.
Like that chair.
Like this chair. Yeah. And we had a new guitar player, Pat Thurlbeck, had just joined us. That was his first gig with us. Yeah. And it was about 35 degrees at night. And there were bugs everywhere.
Park hands, I assume.
Absolutely, 64s.
Perfect.
8 of them.
Yep.
So we're losing weight.
Toasty, yeah.
By the minute. The trailer's bouncing like crazy. Amanda's teeth are getting knocked out because her microphone every time you take a move. Yeah. And no one's dancing. Cool. No one at all. They're actually just drinking and fighting, which is great. But we still played. We played on. We got the whole night done, and then we even had hotel rooms in the town next, and we were like, no, we're not staying there. We're just going to drive home. So then Dickhead wasn't going to pay us.
Oh, because nobody was dancing.
Yeah.
Cool.
Because they didn't have a good time, which was our fault.
Yeah.
So
clearly, yeah.
So we waited a while to get paid. We eventually did get paid because I had to phone him and threaten him. But then we eventually did get paid. So that was the worst one in history for me.
Crazy.
And it was actually, that was the point that we said we're not going to do outdoor gigs so willingly anymore.
Sure, yeah.
We're going to make sure that there's proper
a lot of T's crossed
stuff going on. Yeah, absolutely.
Cut this if you don't want to say it, but the Coors story with you and Amanda.
Which one?
The broken chair.
Oh, like when we were driving back from...
No. There it is.
Yes. That one. Oh, okay, I got to share that one. Okay, yeah. So, Beautiful You, there was this, makeover thing where they would take a middle-aged gal and for a year they would like work with her and train her and get all these treatments done and all this shit, and then she would like have this big reveal, and it was like this, the swan coming out of the goose thing or whatever they call it. And Amanda was one of the sponsors of this thing, and so we were playing for it as an opening act, just her and I as a duo, and we're on the stage. Oh my God! Whenever I'm in a shit mood, I just think of this story, and I like literally piss myself laughing. And so the crowd's full. They're waiting for the big moment. The program hasn't started yet. Nice sit down event. TV crews there.
We're wearing ties, that kind of thing.
Yeah. It's the whole 9 yards, and media's there covering it because of course they're sponsoring it as well, and and it's quiet. We're playing nice unplugged stuff, and there's a woman 12 feet directly in front of me, probably an ideal candidate for the upcoming year of reworking and all that stuff.
Sure.
And so, you know, she's you know, not the picture of fitness or anything, but she's, you know, I'm sure she's a lovely person. But I didn't get to see her because all I heard was like a crack and then like a loud bang. And this woman, bless her heart, ended up with the chair just disintegrated. It wasn't even like it sort of wobbled and then broke. It's like she was sitting on something and then she wasn't. It was like she was sitting on a bubble and it burst.
Yeah.
And I started laughing so hard, and Amanda's looking at me. She's singing. I think the song was "I Hope You Dance" by Leanne Womack.
Yeah.
And I'm like, she ain't dancing. This woman ain't dancing anymore ever. She probably broke her hip.
Sure.
And we are like, I'm like purple, and I'm vibrating, and I'm sweating, and I'm crying. And I can't sing, I can't play, I can't nothing, but I keep my head kind of tucked into my armpit because I'm trying to pretend like I'm coughing so that no one thinks I'm the biggest asshole in the world for laughing at this poor middle-aged overweight woman that just disintegrated her chair. And Amanda, I think she was mad at me for a while because I almost blew it. But no, she wasn't. I'm just kidding. But it was eternally one of the most hilarious moments of my life.
The thing that I just thought of is how far into the set is this? How much of the set is left after this happens?
Oh, there were 3 or 4 songs still left to go. Yeah. And like I couldn't. I just couldn't. I mean, I did, but I kept turning around and I was like wiping my eyes and my nose was running and I'm just not composed at all. And it was so funny.
Church giggles, like you as much as you want to turn it off, you just can't.
Yes, exactly, man. Exactly. So yeah, you get it.
Yeah, I got you, yeah.
For sure.
Cool. Cool. Your natural ranting, well, ranting's the wrong word, just kind of covers my questions. So I don't know where the fuck I am anymore.
Oh, yeah, no, just give me a microphone. I can go on forever.
I think, like, again, when I think of you, it's like the odd time when you meet a person, like, I actually don't know when it was the, hey, Curtis, Matt, Curtis. No idea when or why. We were just playing together at some point.
It was a long time ago. I think you came and did sound for a gig once.
That could be, yeah.
Like a million years ago.
Yeah.
Through Mirza.
Yeah, probably.
It was Mike Mirza that brought you in. That's right. And then, yeah.
But it's always like when you meet somebody and you immediately start fucking with them. Like that's just how I felt like being. So like Curtis and I, we play in a couple bands together. Both of us are usually stage left, and I'll just like during a song, he's looking to the right where everybody else is. I'll just reach out and like transpose his keyboard down, like just stupid, useless shit that's funny to nobody but us. Like
it's so awesome.
Yeah,
I live for that shit. It is absolutely the best. It needs to happen.
Yeah,
it absolutely needs to.
No matter what it is, it's like keeping it light's always fun.
Oh,
so
for
yeah,
sure, man. Life's too short. You got to have fun all the time, and I love being a bit of a goofball for sure at any opportunity.
Yeah.
And like he agrees.
There you go, buddy. This is a very different scene than about 6 minutes ago. I'll stop looking at him so he doesn't change.
That's awesome.
Cool. In terms of like a music career, do you have a favorite time? Like, yeah.
Right before we had kids. So we adopted our first son in 2010. And we started the band in 2004. And I'm going to say like the first 2 years of the band were a little, they were formative years.
Sure.
So by 2000...
sorry to cut you off. That should be a band name.
Formative years?
Like, okay, it's got to be.
We just want 5% royalty on whoever uses that name. That's it.
Or we'll start that band and the name just means we never have to practice.
I always wanted to start a band with the name Enos, Penis, and the Foreskins.
I also want it to be like Curtis Korchniski and the Sexual Favors. I've pitched that name quite a bit, and nobody's ever gone for it. So
it's bullshit.
Yeah,
that's what that is.
So I don't know why you wouldn't.
I just got to change my last name. It just doesn't work. It's like Rod Torfelson's Armada. But yeah, I would say from 2007, late 2007 to about 2010. No, it's even past 2010. When we got our first son, like I was still playing. We were busy in those years, and we were playing like some years 30, 40 shows a year. Right. And that's just weekend stuff, right? Like in the odd Thursday night gig maybe. But it was those were good times. We had a couple demos out there just for our own marketing purposes and stuff for the website. But we were going hard. And then I opened a restaurant in 2006, sorry. And then we started hosting corporate events there. And then I'm like, they would ask like, well, we want to hire a band. And I'm like, well, I happen to know of a band. And then, so then I would double dip in that. And
Sure.
we had some great, great times. And there was probably, I think it was 4 or 5 years, consecutive years in a run where we were the house band for the Saskatoon Wildlife Federation.
Right.
And they would do those collective Christmas parties. So we would play every weekend, Friday, Saturday night, back to back for sure 3 weekends in a row, and usually 4.
Right.
And then the last couple of years, they were doing Thursday, Friday, Saturday, some of the weekends too. So that was awesome. You set up once, you leave your gear there.
Walk-ons are always money. Yeah, that's great.
Way to go. And then we started getting like bigger events like gold medal plates,
Right.
and a couple of the other bigger names that were coming through town. We were getting some after party gigs and some stuff like that. So then we started picking up on some really cool shit, and it was so fun, and we were on a pretty good trajectory. And then that fucking pandemic,
Yeah, that wasn't great. Yeah,
just knocked the lights out for us. But we had kind of leveled off prior to that too, where we weren't quite so busy. But that damn pandemic was the worst.
Weird. I feel like I showed up right around that time when you stopped booking shows, but that's fine.
Yeah, I know. It's like, and it wasn't on purpose. Trust me, not at all.
Sure it wasn't.
But now I'm finding that I'm seeing a little bit more, like I'm doing a little bit more session work where I'll sit in on somebody will ask me to do a studio session for some vocal work or some keyboard work or whatever. Oh yeah, and then. Like Harrison James, I played with him for a bit, and then he's just so bloody busy, I couldn't keep up. So I said, well, just put me on your sub list, and so I'll sub for him whenever he needs someone, which is always awesome too. So there's enough really, really incredibly talented musicians around Saskatoon where you can always play if you want. You just might not get paid.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Some of them, right? But other than that, it's really good.
I guess you've kind of answered this as well, but like, what is music to you now? Like it's a part-time job. It's therapy. It's
100% therapy. That was actually what I wrote when I was going through my notes last night. I was like, when you said that question, my response in caps was therapy.
Cool.
And as a kid, when I get pissed off at my mom, I'd go and play the piano for a bit. And even now, when I'm pissed off at Jordan, I'll go and play piano for a bit. And if I need a break from my kids, I go and play piano for a bit.
Cool.
So I definitely get a lot of therapeutic result out of it. I don't play as much as I would like to. I don't want to play every weekend anymore.
Sure.
Because our kids are at the age where I really enjoy hanging out with them.
Yeah. And they enjoy hanging out with you, I'm sure.
I think so. Sometimes, maybe. But like once a month would be ideal.
Sure.
And I don't want to have to drive to, Hendon to play a street dance. But
Hendon?
Sorry again, Hendon. But like if we, I'd like to start picking up on some more of that corporate stuff or that festival stuff, and there just doesn't seem to have been as much of it lately around here.
Yeah.
But if I could make a full-time career of music out of into that, or make a career out of that, I would be so grateful.
Sure.
But my kids like nice shit, and Jordan likes even nicer shit, and
they like to eat almost every day.
Yeah. That whole inconsistent income thing is kind of an important piece when you're raising a family.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
So, but my job does allow me to, if we're doing a rehearsal on a Thursday night, I can make that work, and if we're gigging on the weekend, it's all good. So,
cool.
I'm very grateful for that.
That's great. Yeah, it's kind of goes to the if we're going on a road trip to go play wherever, Yorkton, even if the band sucks, if the hang is good, we're all going to be happy.
Absolutely.
And then if the band doesn't suck, cool. And now everybody's really happy.
Even better.
Yeah,
man. Actually, I played I'm with Restless Texas as well, and we played the Yorkton Casino at the end of October. And I mean, those
Besides
guys.
Their bass player, the whole band's cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the bass player's kind of a dick, but I'm just kidding, Jesse. I love you. We could have played to an empty room that night, and the road trip and the hotel rooms and the dinner out to this awesome little local tavern, that was the trip.
Cool.
I feel like we played for free, or I would have played for free, and we got paid well to just go and hang out.
Cool.
So I agree with you, man. There's so much benefit that this industry brings.
Yeah,
it's incredible.
Yep. If you're just listening to music, do you have a different playlist for different times?
I always have music on in the house.
Yeah.
Like when I'm cooking, when I'm cleaning, when I'm eating, like with the family, like we don't have the TV on, we always have music on. Cool. Always. When I'm driving, when I'm at the gym, when my headphones are on, I don't stop listening to music ever. Because it's always been such a big part of my life, and I love it. It speaks to my soul. So it's like the melodies and the chording, and I don't pay attention to lyrics. I don't pay attention to Lloyd humping my leg either.
Somebody has to. Yeah.
Attaboy.
Buddy. Hey.
Oh, he's just being friendly.
He's your friend.
Ambitious and friendly. So like I have a wide variety. Like I listen to everything from classical and jazz to like more like the modern shit. I have to say I am not into. Sure. Like the stuff that my kids are into, I'm like I can't. It's not music to me. It's too digital. It's not. It's not natural.
It's a loop and a vocal thing, auto-tuned to shit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Pasted, copied, squared.
Absolutely.
Not much changes.
And I just feel that there's no creativity there. Sure. I will always love the 80s, all the 80s rock and even 80s country. 90s country is wild and pretty awesome. But you know who I've been really jamming to lately is Chaka Khan.
Really? Yeah.
So yeah, I've been listening to her. It was a homecoming tour show in Chicago in 2021, and the whole show is an album on iTunes, and I listen to that.
I'm gonna make a note
all the time.
Sure. Go on iTunes. Cool.
Oh my God, man! And you like her voice and her harmonies that she has with her backup dancers or singers, pardon me. Incredible shit, incredible. And but I always love all of it. Like there's really nothing. I don't like rap. Because again, it's not music. I admire the talent that these guys have and their success. I'm all for it. I can't get into it because it's not melodic, right?
Sure. Yeah.
I'm not, the rhythmic part of it's not as much of a draw for me.
Sure.
But no, other than that, even like some of the electronic stuff is pretty cool. And I'm always a fan of like the Guns N' Roses and the stuff, but the Tragically Hip for sure. Yep. All the Canadian acts like I was talking about before, the Headpins, the Torontos, the Lee Aarons. Like I've had a chance to meet all of them. I got to meet Neil Young when we had the restaurant. Neil Young was playing in town, and his manager called and heard we had a private room. So I was like, we hosted him and his whole band, and then they gave us all tickets, and we went backstage, and we were hanging out on his tour bus after, and he's like the nicest guy ever. Cool. Met the Hip at the Junos. We hosted the after party for the Junos at the restaurant, and the Hip was there, and well, everybody was there, but they were the standouts, and they were for sure like the nicest out of all the famous people that night. And Terry Clark was in there in our restaurant a few times. Cool. Quite a few. We the Buck Cherry played New Year's Eve one year in Saskatoon, and
I went to that with a friend.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
The next morning, I was on a flight to Los Angeles, and they were obviously on the same flight, and just like hung
surprised
over.
They made the flight. Yeah.
Oh my God, it was hilarious, and I was chatting with their drummer, and again, super nice guy, very very talented.
Okay. In terms of musicians, is there I guess kind of a two-part question or choose your own adventure, but is there a band or a musician which you would like to either sit in with or be a fly on the wall for like a studio session?
Man, if Prince was still around, what I would give to play with that guy, or just chill out and backstage and hang with them, right? Cool. I've always been a big fan of Kiss. I've seen them every time they've come to Saskatoon. And I always just love watching I love watching Lloyd hump my leg.
Yeah. Back to keys. Do you have like as a guitar player, I have like my music store riff, either the like I want to actually see how this thing feels or look at how many notes I know, that kind of thing. Yeah. Do you have one? Yeah. So the very first time I borrowed one of my cousin's synthesizers, like a real classic 80s Yamaha synth. And he let me take it home for the weekend, and I was like playing around with it and stuff. So cool. And I learned the Van Halen Jump riff. Right. Cool.
I was young. I don't remember. So anytime I'd go into a music store, I'd roll up to, even if it was just an acoustic piano. Yeah. And I'd belt that sucker out. Cool. It was always funny. People would get a good reaction.
Every guitar player in the room is going to Oh,
and that reminds me, was still playing with the Mullets when we were still a band. Everyone just kind of retired out of that a few years ago, but we were playing this highbrow real estate event at the Delta Besbro downtown. And of course we're in full costume, right? We're in like sequin coats and long mullet wigs, and we're sitting in the lobby bar having a few drinks. We used to call them PSCs, pre-show cocktails. To kind of lube up a bit. And there were 7 of us in that band, and we got going. It was a really good time.
Well lubed, yeah.
And there's a grand piano sitting in the lobby.
Cool.
And it's just, what the Besbro's like, right? It's this fancy hotel. And so there's video of this somewhere, and I will find it and I will send it to you. But I roll. One of the guys dared me, and you just can't dare me to do anything. So Corey, the bass player, dares me to go and wheel up to the piano and play a tune. So I did a medley of Hearts Alone. Yeah. So I started with Alone, and then I went into Van Halen's Jump, and then I ended with, I think it was Paradise by the Dashboard Light, or something like that. And the hotel staff were so pissed off. But like the more uncomfortable people got, the more it egged me on.
Well, sure, yeah. Why would you stop now?
And I was singing and everything. I wasn't just playing. Nice. No. I was singing at the top of my lungs. Then Corey comes and wheels up on the bench beside me and starts singing harmonies. And so I don't know how we didn't get kicked out of there, but it was
probably because you were good. Like if you're drunk assholes who aren't good, you're gone pretty quick.
That's true.
But at least you two can do it.
It was so funny. That was one of my top moments. So that jump riff has come in handy many, many times.
Sure, yeah.
And we still play it in the band to this day, as you know. So
I still fuck up the bridge regularly.
We all do.
Yeah. Cool. How many? Well, I know, like you said, you fill in for a few. How many regular bands are you in?
Well, right now, I'm obviously with our group, with Branded Honey, which is also Studio 54, and then I play with Amanda on her personal stuff, like her solo stuff, which is awesome. And then I'm also with I kind of swing with Grant on the singles, so like that's Scott and Heidi's group, the singles, and I'll play kind of halftime with them. Like Grant will do some, and I'll do some, and I filled in with her Soul Sensation group a few times as well. And then Restless Texas is the other gig that I'm with. We don't play that one like a few times a year kind of thing, and that's a solid group of guys. That's a lot of fun.
Minus the bass player.
Minus the bass player for sure. Yeah, he's something left to be desired for sure. Just kidding, Jesse.
He's just one of our favorite people. Like
150%.
Again, one of those. I immediately feel like I get to fuck with him just because I like him.
Oh man! Yeah. And actually, that was one of your questions you had asked about. Like, was there ever like a royal fuck up at a gig? And Jesse,
I've seen that video.
Bless his whole. Yeah. Oh my God! So we had just finished playing Sweet Caroline. I had the brass patch in there. Coming on hard with the bop bop buzz. And all that shit, and it's a great crowd, and everything's good. And we had a fiddle player with us at the time too, and then we go to the next song. I can't remember what the song was.
I believe it was "Don't Stop Believing," wasn't it?
I think
or was
so.
This a different scenario?
I think it was, and I didn't change the patch to the proper key, and all of a sudden it just wailed on this big horn part, and it was still transposed, so it was in the wrong key. And Jesse was standing right beside me, and we pissed ourselves laughing. So I couldn't play, I couldn't sing, I could nothing. The song kept on. Amanda's looking at us like, "What in the hell is the matter with you idiots?" The rest of the band's playing on, and I am like on the floor in the fetal position laughing, crying, shaking, church laughing, whatever. And Jesse's still laughing as well, but he's playing along, because he's a pro and he can do that. Me, I'm just I'm bush league, so that didn't help. But that was like those moments are just so awesome.
Yeah, you can't make those up. That's
totally can't at all. It's the best.
Awesome. For some reason, that made me think of, and nobody needs to Google this, but you have to. It's called Mambo Number Honk. Have you seen or heard?
No.
Oh, it's so much worse than you think it's going to be, but please just Google it. Maybe I'll put it in the video. I don't know if it'll get me pulled off YouTube, but Mambo Number Honk. I'll play it when we're done. It's so much stupider than you think it's going to be.
I got to see it.
Yeah,
I got to hear it. This is going to be awesome.
I'll make that note. I feel bad writing that beside Shaka Khan. My apologies to everyone involved in that crew. Cool. Do you remember the first song you ever learned? First, front to back, I Know Everything.
With the band? Or as a solo?
Either or could be.
I don't honestly. I don't remember the first song I learned. Like would have been like for a festival, like a music festival that I would have had to have played. I should dig around in my trophies or my little certificates and see, because I still have those somewhere.
He didn't have to say trophies, but he just threw it in there.
Well, they were like this big. Like
a trophy's a trophy. Nobody
dollar
has to know
store
that.
trophies, man. But
it's
yeah,
the size isn't the size that matters. Yeah.
No, it's not. It's not the size of the army. It's the fury of the attack, right? So, and this is in the '80s, kids. So I mean, like budget was tight back then.
Sure,
we were
yeah,
in a recession,
sure, yeah.
so like they were plastic dollar store trophies.
Perfect.
But yeah, no, I kept them all. Just I don't know why, and I will have to find that out. But I know with the band, I think Amanda and I, our first song that we learned together, I want to say is like "My Baby Loves Me" by Martina McBride.
Okay, cool.
And like we've been playing those songs for 21 almost years now, and I can't like I can remember every chord change, every lyric, every nuance that we've put into those songs, right, like in my sleep. Because I mean, if we averaged 20 shows a year,
sure,
that's
it's a lot of reps.
That's a lot of reps for sure. I don't know my calculator, but I think that's 160. But
I'm not good at math either. I don't know. Yeah.
We'll figure it out. But
yeah, cool.
Yeah, it's awesome. So yeah, but I sadly have a ridiculously photographic memory, and I can remember songs even if I played it once. Like if I filled in for your band, in 2007, and I learned a song for it, I would still be able to play it. Not well.
Cool. Sure.
But I'd be able to be like,
you could make it through. And
is it in G? Yeah, okay,
shit.
then I'll be able to bang that
Cool.
out. It's kind of wild.
Yeah. I have exactly the opposite, I think.
Oh, really?
We played at the Dunes a couple months ago. It was Sweet Caroline. And I just couldn't have shit the bed any worse on a 4-chord song. Played it 1,000 times.
You did
and just
fine,
like
buddy.
one of those days where your mind's just like, it's just not quite there.
It's
like
not
it's,
clicking.
A little sideways, yeah.
Absolutely. Oh, my God. We've all had those moments.
Sure, yeah.
And we'll have lots more,
Yeah. But again, those are the ones we'll laugh our asses off over beers. And,
absolutely. Yeah. I love it.
Cool. What else do we have?
Pre-gig ritual.
Oh, yeah. All right.
So I used to, drink professionally when I was in the restaurant business full time.
Oh, yeah, you kind of have to, yeah.
And and I used to like just give her, and then I couldn't figure out why at the end of the night I couldn't sing anymore, why I was flat or why I was figuring out. So
sure.
I learned after kind of, I haven't quit drinking. I've just really, really cut back. So
sure.
like if I have a drink a month, that would be a stretch. So, which is all good. I replaced it with cannabis anyway, so it's all good. I mean, I'm still having fun. Don't get me wrong.
California sober. I think
that's exactly what it is, for sure. But I, even when I was drinking, and I learned to stop drinking. If we were playing again on a Saturday, I would stop drinking on Wednesday.
Really?
And it would help me hydrate my vocal cords a lot. So by the time the gig came around, it was effortless. It was awesome. And I don't smoke weed the night before. But I will pop an edible sometimes, depending on the gig, just to kind of help loosen me up and help me. If it's a Studio 54 gig, I need to like have no inhibitions because I'm wearing that plastic outfit and I'm being a big man whore on stage. So I've got to kind of.
Speaking of which, to stop you there, New Year's Eve, was it New Year's Eve a couple years ago? Yeah. 54 at the Dunes. Yeah.
That was one of my all-time favorite gigs that we've ever played. We've got great footage of it.
Yeah.
But I also destroyed some young girl's hat while she was wearing it, and I grabbed her by the back of the neck and I started humping her face in front of everybody.
As you do. Yeah,
and I mean, it's it's New Year's Eve. That's how you ring in the New Year. But it
is Studio 54. We'll have pictures on screen. You'll know what we're talking about.
Yeah, it's a little risque. It's not your average wedding band or family reunion band. But the best part was after I did that, this woman in her mid to late 70s for sure walked up to the stage and was pointing at herself like she was next. And I couldn't do it. I was laughing so hard and I said to her after that song, I'm like, sorry, ma'am, you're like my aunt. I can't do that. And she's like, well, thanks for not saying grandma. I was going to say grandma, but I didn't want to make her feel bad. It was New Year's Eve. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
So some of those moments where I've just been an absolute jackass and I made a total fool of myself. It's Those are my favorite ones.
And everybody in the room was telling the same story, I'm sure. Yeah.
They're loving
Except
it.
for maybe that one person, the story might be a little different, but otherwise, yeah.
Yeah, that religious woman in the corner is offended, and it's like, okay, well, good. I'm glad I offended you.
Yeah, that's right. You're probably not coming to the next one. Yeah.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
What are you doing out on New Year's Eve then?
Yeah. Cool.
Oh, shit, sorry, I kicked your shit.
Okay, cool. I think we've done it.
We covered it all.
I think so.
That's awesome.
I guess the last question that is kind of my favorite thing to ask everybody. Do you have any advice for 16-year-old Curtis? Be that musically, professionally, personally, whatever it is.
Yes. Don't give a shit about what anybody thinks. Because I used to like really hold back when I would perform, if I was playing or whatever, even not with the band, because at 16 I wasn't, but at 16 I would downplay my talent.
Sure.
Because I knew kids that played better than me, and they were arrogant, and they would walk into a room and they would be like, oh, look at me, and they'd sit down, or they'd, and that was probably from their parents really, stroking their egos, right? Yeah, and having company over, and oh, look at little Jesse Dawson playing the piano in front of everybody. Just kidding, Jess. But
I think like even without saying it out loud, my least favorite person in the room is the loudest person in the room.
Yes.
Almost 100% of the time. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And I didn't ever want to be like lumped into that category.
Sure.
But and I don't regret that part of it. And I would tell my 16-year-old version of myself to, be mindful of that. But don't let that diminish your capabilities, your talents. Because then I would play shittier on purpose just to not make somebody else feel worse about themselves. Right. And what I've learned in my years is just like, you can't be responsible for how everybody else feels. Sure. Yeah, don't go out of your way to be a dick and make that person feel worse than they might already be at. But like, don't hold back. Like you were given a talent for a reason, and it's up to you to share it and make it part of a whole bunch of other things that you do in your day to day. And I did play, like I'm always the one that plays for the family weddings and funerals and whatever. Friends have something going on and they ask me to play, like, so and so's retiring, will you come over and play for sure, whatever. And for a period of time I looked at that as a burden, and I was always so pissed off where I'm like, I just want to stay home and, not do that.
You're not going to pay me. You're not going to whatever.
And then I've learned to like loosen up and understand, like, these gifts were given to you for a reason, however they arrived, and just like go out and nurture them. Yeah. And so like when I know that like for some of the musicians we play with, they rely on the money and it's important. And I always believe that every professional musician needs to be paid for their time and their talent, 100%, for sure. But for me, it's like, if there was only so much money to go around for a 7-piece band and somebody had to take a pay cut, I would be the first guy to raise my hand to say, like, pay me half. Make sure that those guys get paid fair. Because I don't think I'm fortunate to have my career that I can feed my family off of, and the music is just kind of like an accessory. So I never thought of it all the time like that. I treated it differently. And if I would go back to my 16-year-old self, would be like, take the ego down a notch. Don't worry about what everybody else thinks. Just do your thing, do it to the best of your abilities, and reach people that way. And if you want to get paid for it, well, sure, the money will come later. But don't put it too far forward. That's my advice.
Perfect. Take it. Last thing I'll close on, which I'm sure everybody's going to get it, but again, every show that we have, and again, talking about the vibe, I always know that whenever I go out of the show, and we spent 3 hours in whatever small town playing a thing, whenever I leave, it's like just the combo of you and everybody that's around. It's like, I know I'm going to be in a better mood when I leave this place.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Again, the music's almost secondary at times. Just like,
totally.
This hang's going to be great. These people are awesome.
Totally.
Let's go do it. Like,
I couldn't agree more. The music is the common denominator, I guess. Sure. It brings us there, and that's the fun part. I always tell people I don't get paid to play. I get paid to set up gear and sound check gear and take gear down and drive. That's what I get paid to do. The music part of it's nothing. And I think that's when people have seen us play, they can see that we're having fun. They can see that it's effortless to a certain degree, and we're actually enjoying it. Yeah. So, and that I think comes through not only in the performance, but in the quality of the music. Right. So like when Amanda's belting out a tune and I know that my harmony line's here and you can grab the third or the fifth under that or above that, it's just like when you have a 3 or 4 part harmony going out and everyone's the instruments are in tune and the monitors are good and everything, it's just like, oh man, it's fucking orgasmic.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
And I feel for people that don't play an instrument.
Right.
Because they don't know what that's like. They don't experience that, right? Mm-hmm. So 100%. I always know if I'm even in a shitty mood and I'm going to play a gig, I'm like, oh, I got to drive to Yorkton, whatever. I know I'm going to come back feeling way better than I did leaving.
Yep.
So
cool. And I can say the same about tonight.
Absolutely, man. Yeah. This is wild. I love it. This is so fun. Thanks for having me.
I don't think anybody had as much fun as the dog, but we were close second and third.
He's going to need a cigarette pretty soon, I think. Attaboy, Lloyd. Yeah. Attaboy. But
awesome. Cool.
The only other thing I was going to add is there was a question of is there an instrument that you would like to learn? And you know one instrument I do not know how to play yet very well that I really want to learn is a guitar.
I know a guy.
So do you teach guitar lessons?
A bit, yeah.
Mike? Yeah. I know Mike does.
Mike does too. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I got a teacher, Mike. What the hell does he know?
Yeah. I mean, I just whatever. Mike who? Mike who? Mike? Just kidding, Merce.
He'll be on in a couple of weeks. I think. Yeah.
I do. I have my 3 chords. Everyone can play G and E minor, right? But I have a guitar. I got it for Christmas 30 years ago, and I have every intention.
Sure.
But that's the only other thing I want.
I think the cool part for you is like all I have to say is like, hey, there's an A, there's an E, there's where your third is, and you're gone.
Then I just want to sit down and play around with it because again, it's therapy, right? So if I had a choice of watching a movie or some shit Netflix series or playing an instrument, I'm always going to play an instrument for sure.
Cool.
Especially the skin flute. I'm always down for that anytime.
So I heard, yeah.
I had to put that in there because I know Jesse's watching this going, oh, skin flute, man, make a comment. Because I always say that shit when we're sound checking and stuff. So
I need more skin flute in my monitors, please. Yeah.
Can you just turn Amanda's vocals down and turn up the skin flute, please?
And you will get it, regardless of whether or not you,
Absolutely.
Awesome. Cool. Well, thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
This is From the Top.
Thanks for watching.
This is Curtis Korchniski.
Thanks Lloyd, for the conjugal visit. Appreciate it, buddy.
Consensual? You didn't say consensual.
No, it's okay though. I'm not violated at all. It's fine. Kept me warm.
Everybody's a little sweaty now, yeah. Awesome.
Cheers, man.
Cool.
Thanks again.
Thank you.
This is wild.
Lloyd? Yeah, sniff away. There you go. Don't hump the guests.
You really know how to make someone feel welcome, buddy.
It's your first date. Give it a minute.
We haven't even got to the appetizers yet. Just like to skip the main course. That's fine. I don't pay attention to lyrics. I don't pay attention to Lloyd humping my leg either. I always just love watching. I love watching Lloyd hump my leg. You can hump my arm if you want instead. I got him excited, I think.
Whoa.
Lipstick's out. Attaboy.
I don't know how to blur anything.
This is a family show here. Come on. He's going to need a cigarette pretty soon, I think. Awkward. Yeah. It's going to make this awkward for you. Oh, yeah, it's right there.
Jesus.
And there we go. You can sit there.
Nice. Oh, buddy. Well, he's been the clingiest to you so far. So
well, I'm okay with that.
So that's you get a medal for that, I think.
He was gonna rip my legs off when I walked in the house.
Yeah, that's true. He hated you for a little bit. Yeah.
Didn't take long. Hey, buddy. Nice work. Oh, he's a good dog. Now you get to say see you next Tuesday. Oh yes, that's a good dog.